What's up, YouTube? It's Todd Horst here with Tasty Tracker, going to do a small account challenge update, and I'm going to release this video no matter how many issues I have. I'm just going to keep going, and this one is getting released. Okay, so SPY has been a little bit of a rough day, not too far off of the high anyway. It was around 390, so 389 right at this very second. Not a big deal. And if we look overall on the week, still making good progress. If we look at a more complicated chart here, a better chart with better indicators. We can see we're kind of at the top of the channel here, so it would definitely not be surprising if we come back here to 388, although we did that today. So honestly, today might have been a red enough of a day to move forward, but we could definitely watch out for the 385 area. If we want to, we could come down here, let's see, draw something like this, and then sweep back up again to get to the 400. So even here at the lowest, you're talking about 385 again. So it's not really necessarily a bad time to enter. The problem is I'm not seeing a lot of great setups that really speak to me. That's more the reason that I'm not entering. It's not that I think, we're in some terrible trouble at the moment or anything like that. But yeah, so, RSI is already coming down. Again, we're halfway through here. It's 58 is the low, and we're kind of sitting here at 62, and 68 is kind of the high that we've been bouncing around in here. Okay, so that's it. I wanted to go over the positions that I have existing, which is AMD, and then the two new positions, Plug and Tesla. So just generally on the account, I have 403 available, which is good enough for another position, and then I'll have AMD closing soon, so I'll be able to get another position there. So I have two more positions here on the horizon. Those will both probably be for April expiration if I can swing it. That's ideally where I want to be moving towards to allow myself enough time to be correct. So let's first look at AMD. So the first thing to note here is that we're bumping up against the 50-day, the yellow line here. And once we overcome that, hopefully tomorrow, very easily pop above this downward sloping channel up into this area. And that would set us up nicely to get back up into this upward sloping channel to resume our trend that we previously had. So if you could have entered down in here, ideally that would have been a great entry. We already had our positions in, so we're not going to double down on this small of an account, but on a larger account you could have done that. So RSI is heating up, MACD is heating up. Nice green volume today. So yeah, I don't know that there's really much to say there. Beyond that, let's go into the position. Right now, it's been today. It's been hovering around 122 all day, 120 in that range, and we have a closing order set up down here for 102. So we've got about $18 more that we need to have come out of the position, and we can see that it's been steadily losing value over the past week, even though the stock really hasn't moved that much. I mean, yes, it moved on here on the 8th, but and so that's where you'll see this big drop, but it's been slowly declining anyway. So that's data at work. So let's get into the two new positions. We have Plug here. Let's go through this like it was new. So if I hit Plug up there, then I come in here to trade options. Then I want to make sure I select the first monthly here, which is March 19th, the next monthly. Hit sell put, and on the desktop they don't show the figure, but on mobile they'll show the chance of profit. It's roughly the same as the inverse of Tastyworks. Yes, it's called chance of profit. So Tastyworks has the percentage in the money. So if I do that, we can see here that that's 47. And so the chance of profit right now on the 60 strike on mobile is 65. So pretty close, sort of. But another thing you can do here is use delta as the inverse as well. no, not the inverse. Use delta as an approximate. So this is around 35 and Tastyworks is around 45. So delta's a hair lower here. But probably if I was doing this just from scratch, I would be using Thinkorswim or Tastyworks to help me build the legs. And if you're not doing that, then the very least you need to set up the support in a chart, and that's where you would place your legs. So 60 is what I have defined here as support, and so that's why I chose the 60 strike. So we go ahead and click this one, then we'll switch over to buy and buy the lower strike. Then it says put credit spread, and we can hit continue, hit 1, and then we hit the price there that we want. I collected 195, so you would put 1.95. Ideally, obviously, you want to collect as much as you can since this is premium that you're collecting. So if you can get to a 5, then get to a 5. Hit review order, and then hit submit. So once that completes and fills, then I can come back. I guess I should say one last thing. While you're still on that screen, you can edit the order and continually drop it down a penny or two to get it to fill. And if you go off of that screen, now if I go back into it, it won't let me replace the order. So that's where your mobile phone comes into play, where you can replace that order on mobile, but you can't do it on desktop. So again, great UI. But if we click under positions here, if we click on our position, it automatically selects close, so we can hit 1, and we're just going to have what we collected and make sure we do good till canceled. Hit review order, hit submit, and now we'll have a new one show up here in a second. There we go, queued. That will enter in its aftermarket market hours. That's why it doesn't say. That's why it says queued. So anyway, so this is closing once it hits $1, and right now it's trading at 205, so it's got definitely some time before that closes. As far as the chart is concerned, I'm looking at RSI getting close to its recent low. MACD's a bit extended here, and it's not increasing dramatically. So like these first couple days here, you can see where the candles are getting much bigger, but here it's relatively flat, and it even did start to curl up yesterday with the green day, but then SPY's down today, so everything's kind of down, which is ideally when we enter. So it could definitely come down here to 60, where the green line is. It's also potential that we could drop down here to 53-ish range, 55. But then we have earnings coming up, so that's one risky thing. And the expiration is the whole way up over here. So we want to be, we want to be up here in this quadrant. Very, very likely that happens. So let's go back over here. Now we have Tesla. So if I was pretending I'm entering this new, type in Tesla. Typically, I have a rule to not enter Tesla positions on a small account challenge because of how volatile it is. But again, kind of getting a little bit bored. So the first thing I did was I thought, wow, I don't want to put another position on for March, so I'll go out here to April. So I went out here to April, and I noticed that everything is 10 wide. So 800, 790, 780. And so that's not going to work for this account. That's too big. So I come in one expiration. So this would put me on a weekly. And you can see down here, I do have the ability to do 5s until we get to 780. Then we have 10 wides. So I can't do 770, 70, 80. So then I'm left with a 5 wide here of 785, 780. So let's go over here and see if that makes any sort of logical sense. And we can see that at 780 is where I am thinking that the stock could come down to. It's already broken below the 20-day, so that's not a great sign. It'll probably come the whole way down to the 50-day, around 745, 750, somewhere in that range, and then have a bounce up. We don't have earnings on this one, so that's great. But sort of very similar to chart where the RSI is getting down to a recent low and a potential point where it could turn around. MACD is a bit extended. Um, yeah, so 785 is a little higher than I ideally wanted. I wanted to get 780, but it's just what the strikes worked out to be. I could have gotten exactly what I wanted if I came into this expiration of March. So if I came in one more week to March 19th, then they have $5 wides the whole way down. But I didn't want to place everything on that expiration. So now that I already had that enter set up and ordered and in, just like plug, so I don't need to go over that again, but I'm going to come in here and just put in a closing order till canceled for 1. And that's it. So as soon as I get a fill, then I go ahead and enter in the closing order. And then so this is what our portfolio looks like. For the coming expiration, we have AMD and plug. And again, this one is very close to exiting. So then I will be putting on the next 2 positions out here in April, which doesn't exist yet. So I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Not my best day for recording, but it is what it is. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.